What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quotes. And maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, speaking of entertainment, today I got Emily Adams. Emily Adams. Oh, you know that name. She's a California girl. Yeah. Oh, but she's not stuck in California. She goes all over this fine country of ours. I think we're going to find out a little bit more about Emily Adams. She's a singer-songwriter. I was listening to her music earlier. Oh, my goodness. The girl's got the chops. She got the skills to pay the bills. I feel like, folk singing versus, like old school, like really stripped down, taking it back and taking it way back and telling a story. While you're at it, you get some information while you're listening to an Emily Adams song, which is fantastic. But I'm excited. You're going to get to hear about her in the next few minutes. So stick around. This week's shows. Where am I going to be? Friday night. I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The usual spot that I'm in. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. The Rab in Conway, Arkansas. 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. I said karaoke. Yeah, I said it. You heard that right. You're the stars of the show. And they got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Friday night, come on out and visit with me. 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. And then on Saturday, oh, I got a wedding. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this wedding. I booked it, oh my god, maybe 8 months ago, and we've been talking back and forth, getting the thing right. I love weddings so much, because I always want to be perfect. And I know that the bride and groom wanted to be perfect as well. So together, they're planning. The more that they plan, the better I'm going to be for them. We were talking about their walking down the aisle, their first dance. So exciting. But the reason I mention this, I know if you're not invited, you cannot come. But I'm so stoked that I still get to be part of people's big day. I know that sounds cliche. It's your big day. Whether it be a wedding or a birthday party, or even you're the guest of honor at your local company, getting that promotion. Yeah, getting that promotion. Let's party. Let's have a good time. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Emily Adams. Emily Adams. Yeah, I got her on Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the YouTube version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Skyping Emily Adams now.
Hi, can you see me okay?
Wow, that was fast, like you've done this before. Fantastic. Hey, if you'll flip it sideways, it'll fit in my broadcast software real nice.
Sure.
Winner.
Can you see that okay?
Oh, I see that okay.
Okay, perfect.
Emily Adams in the house. What's up?
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm seeing, okay, for people that are listening to the audio version, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the video version. Check that out because you'll see Emily Adams sitting right there next to me. But I'm looking in your background and I'm seeing lights. Looks like Christmas back there. And here we are, not anywhere near Christmas, but you got little twinkly lights. Do you keep your Christmas lights up all year long? That sounds like a country song.
Yes, I do. I just love the lights.
Well, that's a nice space for sitting and chatting, sitting and conversing. Emily Adams, yeah. All right. I hardly ever do any research on these things because I want these things to unfold nicely and organically, but I had to listen to your music. I had to read a little bit of your bio. And if you'll notice, I saw some of your bio, and I'm wearing
Uh-oh.
This is a shirt that I think last 4th of July, we have a spot here in Conway, Arkansas, called the Coho, the City of Hope Outreach. And a lot of times the vets are the ones that are down on their luck, the ones that are needing the most help. And, it's nice. We do stuff for the vets. We do stuff for the unhoused. And
Right.
I know you're a California girl. There's a big unhoused problem in California as well because it's warm. You could spend some time outside and kind of live. But
Yeah.
tell me about where you're at, where you're from. Tell me about what's happening in the world of Emily Adams.
So, I'm originally from California. I grew up in 29 Palms, where my dad was mostly stationed for the military. So I grew up there until about maybe like early teenager. And then I was in Yucca Valley. It's close to Palm Springs. And I lived there until I was about 17. And I decided to get myself to New York to start a music career. So there was actually a guy there that ran like an open mic. It was called the Beatnik Cafe. And he said, well, you don't have any money for your ticket, so why don't we do like a benefit concert? And I played the show, and we put together a Send Emily Adams to New York little benefit jar for tips and stuff. And so we raised I think it was like $200, and it got me my ticket and my flight into New York. But I went into New York with $100 in my pocket, and I was like, oh, this is risky.
But
and I've been in East Coast ever since.
But that's funny because people usually take the bus the other way. They head for California because that's the place you ought to be.
A lot of people tell me that. They go, why'd you come here? Because I lived about 12 years in New Jersey because it was so easy to commute to the city, but cheaper, rent-wise in New Jersey. So I lived there for quite a long time and started to, kind of think of even Jersey being my hometown now because I've just been there so long. But people would tell me, why are you in Jersey if you were in California? And it wasn't the California that's all glamorous and busy. It was out in the middle of nowhere. I was in the desert. There's not much around for like a starving artist that wants opportunities.
Oh, you mentioned the two words that go together. I was talking, what is it? It's starving artist. That's definitely two words that go together. And my wife and I were just talking about how low the military gets paid, and that they have to take second and third jobs to live, to get by.
Oh my God. Yeah. My dad had I think 4 different jobs at a time, and there were 7 of us, me and my siblings. So he had a big family, and we always had what we needed, but man, my dad was always working.
Well, I mean, that's okay. Your mom and dad decided to have a ball team, a band. Were they making their own little community together? Well, having so many brothers and sisters, I've had one half brother, one step sister, and another half sister or stepsister, I guess. It's an American family, the way things go. But it sounds like your mom
in public all together, people would do the Addams Family theme song, and it was like, oh boy, here we go again.
Okay, you either own it or you get mad at people. And I'm guessing, with your disposition, you got to own it. Just go ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, let's all do it.
But fantastic. My goodness, you have all that family. These are people that are going to back you up. I think I was watching a Gene Hackman movie about Tombstone, about the OK Corral. And he said, there's nothing as important as family. And I know that I've taken that statement my whole life. These are the people generally that are going to back you up the rest of your life. Now, having such a big family and having, I guess it was your dad that was in the military. What job was he doing?
Yeah. What
job was he doing in the military? What branch?
He was a master sergeant. So he was pretty up there. He was kind of like the one in charge of all the Marines under him. But he had so many jobs. I think he was also, he went to Okinawa because he was stationed overseas at one point. He just did so many different things, and he worked pretty much right up until, he was too sick to continue. But, now he's got health issues and he's older. But, he worked his whole life. And I guess, a lot of people ask me where I get my work ethic, and I'm probably like, that would probably be my dad.
I suspect you're right. it's a tough thing to be in the military, but it's structure. It's what kids need.
Yeah.
You know, there's some, you know, a lot of kids, these kids today, you know, they're,
Right.
I got hit with a shoe in my butt when I needed it. And, you know, sometimes whatever was within arm's reach was thrown at me, my brother and I, just to make sure that we were not cutting up too much. You know, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
but
we had a very strict upbringing too. So, and we were all homeschooled as well. So we didn't go to like your normal public school where we had, you know, that social interaction. So I think that has a lot to do with me becoming into music. It was a way to express myself, something that I was interested in, something that I could, you know, voice for myself. And I didn't really have a lot of influences or peers around me to kind of, maybe I would have been influenced to do something else if I was in school, you know, like I never know. So because I had that time of being homeschooled and being home all the time, I got to actually sit at the guitar and get into that.
Oh, and we are all the better for it. You know, I'm looking, all right, I saw the bio and it makes sense. The music in your house was Bob Dylan, was Buddy Holly. Those are the two, those are the two tent poles that you mentioned in paragraph number 1. And if you listen to your music, I listened to all the YouTube videos, and I do appreciate the videos. I'm a child of the MTV era. So if you got a music video out there, I'm going to play it at the club on Friday night and maybe at the wedding on Saturday. So, you know, I do enjoy a good visual to go with the audio, but, you know, you have such an old school feel. It's Joan Baez. Yeah. It's storytelling with music. It's what it's not pop. It's definitely not pop. You are telling a story. You are giving people information through your song. Now, I don't know how many of those were original songs. Some of them were, from what I can see. And you know, how many original songs, and what are the stories that you tell in those songs?
Yeah, so most of everything that's released of my stuff is my originals. I do write my own music and my own lyrics. And I would say definitely like the older school music is definitely an influence. Like people always say I have sort of like an older sound, and I do it because it's what I have. I don't think I could get rid of it if I wanted to, but it's there, it's innate because growing up, my dad had Johnny Cash and the Everly Brothers and Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly. So all my background and influences came from more of like the older generation of artists. And when I write my music, to me, it's just staying true to what I want to say. Like in life, if I'm going through something, if I'm going through a heartbreak or a struggle in life, the best way for me to get past it is to write it. So like my song Down to the Top, it talks about like seeing starvation and seeing like really like hard things that people go through, but it's sort of like you got to get down to that bottom to be able to rise to the top, which is why it's called Down to the Top. And then the chorus swings into I'm on my way down to the top, like I'm going to get through this anyway and I'm still going to rise above. So it's like my music is all truth. Every single song is a real story. And it's something that has happened to me or has happened to someone I've loved or cared about. I don't really make up things. It's more based on like true life and what's been happening in my life. So it's kind of biographical, I guess.
Yeah, it's clever wordplay for sure. You got to go down before you go up. I know that sounds very formulaic. There's a lot of people. You got to before you can go down. You got to get up. Stuff like that. It's very formulaic. I think I was watching a movie called Mystery Men, and one of the guru, the guy who had the sage advice, he says, if you want to have a balanced attack, you must attack with balance. You know, it was very formulaic like that. But writing what you have so much to take so much life experience to take from. Not just living in California, in different parts of California. People that don't know California, it's so many different states within one state. You can go to the mountains and the beach within 2 hours. You could be in the snow and be on the beach. I mean, what kind of trouble were you getting into when you were a kid? And you said you left California about 15, or when did you leave California?
Yeah, the first time I left was 16. I sort of ran away to go on a music journey with a drummer. That I wanted a band, and at that time, rock and roll was like, my parents were very strict, so it was kind of like they didn't really want me around a band and that kind of stuff. They supported my music career, but there were still restrictions, and I wanted to get out there and do me. So the first time I attempted Runaway, I was 16. And then when I was brought back, I was home for a couple months and then left for New York at 17. And I think a lot of my life experience was I was homeschooled and very sheltered. And when I came to the city and I got my first job, I didn't know how to work a cash register. I didn't know how to, like, all these things that I had to kind of figure out and learn on the way just to keep a job. And then I ended up having 4 jobs at one time, and I've been in and out of so many different apartments that I couldn't afford, and then shuffle back to somewhere else, and living on someone's couch when you have to. And all of this creates really good content for a song. You know, so a lot of my stuff in 2019, I went through a really crazy time, not only because of the whole COVID stuff, but at the time I was dating someone and he had passed away. And then I was dating someone else and it was like a couple years prior, and he had just passed away. So it was like, it was a year or two of like losing a lot of people that were close to me. And I had run on a company first, which I took a break from music to do, because I just had to get financially stable for a while. So I spent 5 years running this company and took a break from music. And it wasn't until those losses of the loved ones that I was like, I don't have any way to grieve. I don't have any way to get this out. And that's where my song Betrayal and Running From Mine, the song Ray, all of those songs on my album called Betrayal is all about that time era in my life where I just felt I was losing everything close to me and everything was kind of crumbling. And so I was like, I'm going to put this into an album, and this is going to be like my story for this era.
Emily Adams, when we're talking about life experience, you just hit me in the feels in many ways. You had 2, not just 1, but 2 partners that passed away while you were in relationships with them. And the other thing is, I have a 17-year-old daughter that just ran away, and I have no idea where she's at.
Oh, wow.
So, what advice do you give for someone, a young person who thinks that they know everything? I remember when I was 17, I knew everything. And now I know nothing.
Oh my God, yeah. I got to the city and it was like a slap in the face. But, like I look back and I'm like, no one could have talked me out of doing that. Like no one could have made me change what I did. I wanted to get to the city. I wanted to be a part of something bigger. And I had access to everything around the world in New York and New Jersey. So like even through the hardships, I still wouldn't change it for anything. I think it makes, a lot of my material, it's made me the songwriter that I am, and it's also made me the person that I am. So it's hard. It continues to still be hard, but I'm blessed with many, opportunities that are coming up, and I think things are like looking really good now too. I've just signed with a new management company, so they've really gotten me out there and going.
Would that be the Big Records or what is that?
Yeah, so I'm a part of Big Records, which is a record label group. They also do like great marketing and advertising stuff for you. But Grace Musicianship Group, which is the company and branding of my manager, Brian, he does a lot of my bookings now. Like I've got so many shows coming up. I think more shows than I've had probably in my entire career. And they're paid gigs, so it's amazing. And he's just really helped me grow as an artist. I've been nominated for the singer-songwriter, the International Singer-Songwriters Awards in August. So that's just unthinkable. Imagine going home with an award for your music. So it's really all like kind of grown since he's come into the picture. And now he works kind of with my label. So they're all kind of like this family.
Well, it's good to have people that are backing you up. And, there's good stories and bad stories about getting together with a record label, but it sounds like you've made the right match. You've made the right choices. I'm going to go back to the running away. You feel like that was the way to go, that it had formed your experiences. You don't think that if you would have stayed home with mom and dad, you still would have gotten big. But hey, I understand. We all go through life. Serpentine, the plan that you make when you're a kid. Okay, I plan to go this straight line, and then it turns into a squiggle. It turns into... Oh, yeah,
it was definitely a squiggle. There was many squiggles.
Yeah, and roadblocks.
But I was just never... I don't care for California. The environment for me is just not for me. I'm like, I love the city. I'd never want to leave the city. I may have not, planned as well as I could have, or maybe I could have, waited till I was 18 or 19, it's so rushed. But I just had to like get out and find myself and do me, being homeschooled with 7 brothers and sisters, and not having really like an outlet or opportunities there was just very frustrating, and it felt like I was trapped.
Well, you did it. You did it. You made the break. You reminded me of another song, another storytelling song by Boz Luhrmann, that it was like a commencement speech for one school, and they turned it into a song called "Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen." And in part of that song, it says, "Live in California, but get out before it makes you too soft. Live in New York,
oh, definitely,
but get out before it makes you too hard." There's the two dichotomies, and I think that's all of the East Coast. I'm from Miami, which is the biggest suburb of New York. And the New Yorker's favorite wine is "I want to go to Florida."
Yeah, I know.
I'm from the Florida Keys, where it's really nice and easy. It's kind of that California attitude just below the Miami. That where it's hustle and bustle.
Yeah, I've actually never been to Florida. I've been curious how it is. I just keep hearing how hot it is, and I'm not a fan of the heat. So I'm like, I don't know. Should that be on the top of my list or maybe somewhere on the bottom?
Well, it's going to be on the tour. I'm sure Emily Adams will make her way down the East Coast, all the way down to the Gold Coast, the Sunshine State. I know I think there's a battle. Is it the Sunshine State? Is that California or is that Florida?
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know which one's more humid. Would you say Florida? Because California is like dry heat, and there's a huge difference between like humidity heat and then the dry heat.
Well, I know parts of California. When I was out there doing parties, I started in San Diego, and I had my equipment outside by the pool at this guy's house. And I said, "Hey, I should bring it in, tonight until the morning, and in case it rains." And the guy says, "It's not going to rain. It never rains. Never rains in Southern California. 200 days a year of." But then I go up the coast. I go to L.A., a little hotter. Bakersfield, hot. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I was 10 inches from the sun in Bakersfield.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love the East Coast weather because you get snow, you get rain, you get cold, then you get hot. You get a little bit of everything. But in the wintertime, I'm always like, why is everybody complaining about the cold? I love the cold. And in the summertime, I'm like, I can't wait for the winter. And everybody thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah, you are crazy.
But I love the cold better.
I think we get here in Arkansas, which is, I guess, the deep South, we get about 2 days of snow. And that's 2 days too many for me. And
oh, wow.
Because we're not ready for it, we have 4 snow plows in the whole state, and I think only one of them worked last year. So we had one lonely guy salting all the streets. Oh, man.
Oh, no. Yeah, like New York and Pennsylvania, since they're so used to the snow, like out at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you got like the people dropping the stuff on the street, and by the time you wake up, the streets are plowed. Like they're so ready for it. So I think it makes it a little bit easier. But certainly living somewhere where they're not as prepared, I think that would be probably a problem because you couldn't even get your car out of your driveway.
Oh, no snow days for you kids. Nuh-uh. Of course, you didn't have to worry about that being homeschooled. Now, you said you had 7 brothers and sisters. Are you number 8? Or where did you fall into that?
I'm 7. So I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. Well, 4 sisters because I'm a 5th.
Okay.
I can't keep track sometimes. But I have 2 older sisters, 2 younger sisters, and 2 younger brothers.
Do you remember all their names? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I do, but I don't remember their birthdays.
Well,
There's always a thing in my house. We set Facebook reminders or notes or whatever. My dad's pretty good about keeping track of everyone's birthday, but if you don't write it down somewhere, like nobody's going to remember all those birthdays.
Well, I was told a long time ago, I think, it must have been my mother or some, maybe it was advice that she gave to me. You should always remember a woman's birthday, but forget her age.
Oh, there you go. That's good advice.
Now,
speaking of birthdays, my birthday is actually Thursday this week.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you doing for your birthday? Is it a big one? Is it 18, 21, 25?
I'll be 34.
34. Nah, that's a nothing birthday.
Yeah.
After
I don't want them to put the candles on the cake for 34. They can put like 2 candles. That's good.
Well, after a certain age, it's like now you're counting by fives. 34. All
yeah,
right.
there you go. Exactly.
You might go out to dinner with a couple of friends, but 35. Woo, that's going to be a big one. You can start counting by fives until you're 70, and then you start one at a time again. It's like
oh, I like that. I'll count by fives, and then when I get to a certain age, I'll count by 10s.
That's right. No. After that, you've made that 70. That's it's biblical. I think if anything I took out of the Bible would be that 70. We only have 70 years, and everything else is borrowed time. I don't know.
That makes sense.
There's so much knowledge in this head. Sometimes it spits out on this microphone, and it gets into who knows if anybody can make any sense of it. But I'm stoked to be talking to you. I'm stoked to be digging into where you came from. Anybody can go out to your Spotify, and I'll have all the links to all the stuff in the show notes for sure. But anybody can go listen to your music. But who is the person behind the music? Who is the person who was the person that gave Emily Adams her first guitar, or gave you your first singing lesson? When was that?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I saw with my dad. My dad was watching a rerun of the Ed Sullivan Show with Buddy Holly on it, and Buddy Holly was doing "That'll Be the Day" and Peggy Sue on his his Fender Stratocaster. And I told my dad, and I was like, I want a guitar like that. And so at first, a kid's gonna say that's about everything. So my dad goes, okay, well, save up your money and we'll talk. And I made like maybe 50 cents a week at that time. Like I wasn't going to get no guitar with that, but I saved it up. I had like $10 to put towards the guitar. And one day I woke up and there's this printed receipt by the computer that my mom said, your dad wants you to see something. And I go and I look and the guitar was ordered. So my dad had done the order and got me the guitar. And I played on that guitar for the next several years until I discovered Bob Dylan. And then I went acoustic. And then I got an acoustic guitar by... My sister had like a broken one underneath the bed. It had like 5 strings on it or something. And, so I put the 6th string on it and fixed it up a little bit. And I started learning Bob Dylan on the acoustic. And my first music lesson was my mom. She met some guitar teacher out there in Joshua Tree in California. And, they didn't have a lot of money. They had 7 kids. And she would take her last $20 and make sure that I had a guitar lesson. And I would go to those, every week when I could, when she could afford it. And so I took a few lessons doing that, but I spent a lot of time like on my bed in my room just practicing and getting like books to learn from and reading the books and studying chords and listening to the artists that I like to listen to and kind of played along with them and started that way. And then once I started really taking vocal lessons, because I was never really a singer. I could never sing in pitch. I couldn't define what key I was in ever. But people noticed the lyric writing. They would never really notice me as a singer. So I never really considered myself a singer. It didn't sound that great. But 2 years ago, I hired a vocal coach for the first time. And man, has it changed my life. I didn't know like so many things about raising your soft palate, singing from your diaphragm, how to do air support, how I can make my voice sound bigger and more powerful by using less. Like, I started now getting compliments on my voice at shows where people are like, wow, what a voice. And I'm like, are they talking about me? Because I'm just not used to the feedback of being like a singer now. And so it's very transforming to work with a vocal coach because I never knew what I had until she taught me how to use it, and now I'm singing with a band and the songs that I sing, I can, I do White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane by Grace Slick. And that song's probably going to be my favorite to sing forever. But I'm doing bigger songs that I would never have been able to do before. And I think vocal training has really changed my life and career in music from just learning how to use what I have,
Emily Adams, Grace Slick is a lofty goal, okay? But you know where you live. I know that White Rabbit is the main featured song on your YouTube page.
Oh, yeah.
After you're done with this podcast, my loyal listener, go check out the YouTube page. Go watch that video. And I'm going to give you another compliment. I'll add to that. Yes, great voice. Your vocal teacher has taught you in spades. Has taught you well. You've done well.
Thank you.
I don't know how well you sang beforehand, but you're doing a great job now.
Thank God you haven't heard me before.
But people want to hear that. You know, once you get to a certain level, people are going to go, hey, do you have any recordings of when she was a little girl singing in her brush, you know, for the family? Do you have any of those recordings?
Which you know, it's cool because I actually do, and they're little cassette tapes that you put in a cassette player, and it's like my first songwriting songs. You can hear my voice, and it's never in tune or on pitch, and I'm like, oh dear, what the heck was I doing? And I even performed live like that. Like when I was 12 years old, I had a first concert in California, and I was performing on all kinds of stages and doing all this stuff, but people had recognized the writing a lot, and they liked the storytelling. So I kind of got away with like this voice that was never in key.
Yeah.
But out here, like, that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, nobody sounds bad with a Christmas song or you know, like a gospel song. No, those are made for people to belt out, to have some joy in there. You sing Christmas songs. You know, in fact, here's another little tip for the people that are out there listening. If you get a chance, you know, if you're writing songs, while you're writing, might as well write a Christmas song, because this is where the residuals come in every year. If that song hits, you know, Mariah Carey can't take all the money, you know, and you were talking about gigs that are coming up, and you're actually going to make some, you know, they're paying gigs. And I, you know, when you said that, I thought of all the people that have been on this podcast, all the singers that say, oh, I don't do it for the money. Yeah, but if the money came and you could do something you love and make a living out of it, that's fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah, because then you have more time to do what you love. If you're working a full-time job or 2 full-time jobs and trying to squish in practicing songs so that you can do a show, it's so much harder than being like, oh, you know, my cell phone bill's paid and my electric bill's paid because I did a show last night. Like, that's just special.
You better believe it. I remember my cousin Timmy, and he, you know, he's much younger than me, but you know, he's a savant. He can pick up a guitar. I don't think he reads music, but he can listen to any song and start playing it. But the first time that he got paid for a gig, he was in Gainesville, Florida at college. And I remember him taking that $20 bill over to the grocery store and saying, hey, I made this money playing my guitar.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cry. But that's what it's all about. There'll never be anything more special than that $20 bill, you know, because you got it from doing what you love. And that's really where it's at, because now you're going out and you're saying, you know, I just put this food on the table because of my songs, you know, like, that's just a good feeling.
But, you know, you've run the gambit. You're a responsible person. You have a work ethic. You said you started a company. What kind of company was it? What were you selling?
It's actually dog training. I'm actually I'm a behaviorist for like dog behavioral modification. We did a lot of aggression work, and it was a very successful company. I made a lot of money, and it supported me for all the years that I've done it. And I think now I'm just kind of at a time where it's a good income. I mean, people love their dogs, and there's dogs everywhere, right? And I have a knack for it. I'm very good at it, but I want to gear towards more focusing on doing music and getting to do that more full time. And so I've kind of pulled back a little bit. I mean, here and there, I'll take a client and I'll do some dog training still, because can't always say no. But I definitely want to put more of my energy into rehearsing and practicing and getting myself ready as an artist, because my new management group, they're crazy at booking shows. And as soon as I'm ready, I mean, you say the word and you've got like 20 shows a month easily. So I've really got to get myself ready for that. And I just find dog training takes a lot of energy, and you have to give it effort. You can't be sloppy at it, you know, and I have a reputation because of my company. So if I'm going to do that, I have to give it my all, and then music's not going to get my all. So it's kind of always been this like battle back and forth. It's hard, but
Emily Adams, I want to give you thanks on behalf of all the couriers and all the mailmen, the letter carriers out there in the world for your dog training. You know, hey, I've done a courier job myself, and I mean, maybe the worst part of it is the dogs that are out there, and the owners that'll say, "Oh, he won't bite," and then he bites. They bite. I got bit, you know, doing that job. So yeah, I thank you for the people, and I don't know about you, but the little dogs. It feels like the little dogs are the ones that get the least training, because the owners, they figure, oh, that's a big dog. let me go ahead and train that. The little dog, he won't do anything. But the little dogs need to be trained just as much as the big dogs. Do you feel that?
Yeah,
being
and
a pro?
exercise too. Like a lot of times people think because they have a little dog, they can just put a wee-wee pad down and the dog can go pee on the pad so they don't have to walk it. They don't have to take it out. And then if they do take it out, they're usually carrying it or it's in a bag. So it's never being on the floor or the ground and actually walking and being socialized and exposed to things. And so now people have this thing about like old small dogs are just yappy and crazy and hyper, but you wonder why. They're not getting the exercise that the bigger dogs are getting. They're not getting the socialization and exposure that the bigger dogs are getting. So a dog that can walk on the ground through a Home Depot and a Lowe's is experiencing every kind of exposure and distraction there is. But a dog that's being coddled its whole life, it doesn't even know how to cope when you put it down. It's like that in itself is a big problem with smaller dogs. So we get that a lot.
Oh, you words of wisdom. Shots fired, Paris Hilton. Don't carry that in your bag. all the ladies on
in a purse, and I'm like, put it down.
all the ladies on Rodeo Drive, and gentlemen, for that matter, that are carrying their little dogs around, and your little dog too. All right, so are you a pet owner yourself? Do you brag on your pets if you have any?
Oh, yes. I have 2 German Shepherds, 1 female and 1 male, 85 pounds and 95 pounds. They're pretty big, sturdy dogs, but they keep my home safe, and I feel pretty good when I walk them at night.
Yeah, I suppose so. Now, you're living in the city in New York right now?
Well, now, recently, for the past 6 months, I've been living in Pennsylvania. I'm in a house out here in Pennsylvania, and I moved from New Jersey, I think it was 6 or 7 months ago. But I feel like it's temporary. There was a situation I had to get into a home really quick, and my dogs had to have a place to live, and the other place was moving up rent. And rent right now is so crazy in Jersey too. It went up so much from when I first started living there. So when I got rid of my company and I was making some life changes, I had to downsize a lot. And Pennsylvania, oh my God, well, where I live is so out in the middle of nowhere. So the rent was so much more affordable. So I was like, I'll do this for 2 years as I'm, doing my music and get on my feet and do everything. And then I really want to move back to New Jersey because now New Jersey's like my home.
Well, that's another thing is that the whole world went through this COVID thing and they figured out that they can work from home or work from anywhere in the world as long as they had a good internet. Some of the jobs never went back to the city, never went back home. So,
right.
So people were fleeing the big cities. I heard California is draining. They're spreading out to the other states that are not as far west. I guess they go
right.
as far east as Texas. Austin, I heard, was a big California booming city in Texas. But I guess the rents did go high because of demand, right? Is that what you're thinking?
And now it's ever since COVID, everything in the city is just amplified. And me, I'm living by myself. So to afford my own rent without the company at the same time, I was like, this is just getting too expensive. So I'm lucky I found this place because it's a really cool spot. I mean, I've got a huge backyard space for the dogs to run, and I've got my own little music room set up with my piano and my PA system, and everything's set up to really help me get to where I want to get right now. So it's temporary, but it's good temporary.
No, but that's a nice thing that you're telling people is that you can have your own little space. It doesn't have to be a large space. In fact, this space that I'm working in is not. It's half a room. It's not even the whole room.
Right.
So
but you have everything you need.
All you need is the microphone. You need a mixing board. You need your guitar. You have enough in your house for a couple $1,000, and
right.
and you can make a decent demo. Now, when you're recording your music, do you take it off to a studio to have it mixed mastered? Where do you go? Where do you go do your recording at? You can start giving shout outs to people that have helped you along the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So one producer that's worked with me for several years, his name's Killian Cruiser, and he actually just migrated to Florida because he was in LA, and LA was changing for the worse. So he moved out to Florida, and all of the songs on my album Betrayal, he actually mixed and mastered and did the producing for those. And then my song that just came out, the single What's Wrong With You in Silence, was just released as another single. He did all the producing and mixing and mastering for those. And now I'm working with a really cool studio called the Cocoon Recording Studio. It's in Jersey City, New Jersey. And Corey Zack is the producer, and he actually did some of my YouTube videos. There's a video there where I'm like at a laptop with a guitar and I'm doing What's Wrong With You, and it looks like I'm in this like little live stream studio. So that was at his place, and now we're talking about getting together my next album and songs that I have ready. I'd probably record over there, and he's going to bring in like a full live band and stuff like that. So that's going to be really exciting because he's got a nice little setup there. So.
Well, that's another nice thing about having a team is somebody's taking some video for you so you can use it as advertisement to get the next gig. You know, I tell people often that, you know, the entertainment business, the money can be good, but the work's not steady. It's a hustle.
Right.
And as long as you have somebody that's recording you, and yes, the top 3 videos after the White Rabbit video is at the Cocoon. Or no, I guess the top 2 videos are you doing Betrayal and you doing What's Wrong With You at the Cocoon. And I'm listening to those, and they're, man, your voice is like butter, a big stick of butter. And it's just, you know, look out. I guess you can take over for Grace Slick, but you know where you live when you're singing. Do you have the octaves? You know where your range is. You've gotten that skill. And that's a good thing. Those are gems, once again, is going to a professional that teaches you how to sing. You can go from here to here, but don't go don't go down there, and don't go up here because it's going to hurt you. Or can you go up there?
I even learned like something so simple, like I was doing a Taylor Swift song that she hit something really high at a certain part, and when I would go there, it would just make me sound like really scratchy. And I didn't know, like, you can change the keys to the song to more fit your own voice. So I was like, oh, I can't do this song. I can't cover this song because it doesn't fit me. And then it's like, no, we just change the key and we find out what key your voice does it best in. That was game changer for me because now I can do any song I want to do and just make sure I know what key my voice sounds better in, right? And that's just something like I didn't know. I didn't have any vocal training or theoretically like know the ins and outs of voice stuff. So I did, you know, if this doesn't sound good, I can't do the song. But now, like, you can even find, like, maybe you can't hit this specific note that she hit, but you can go a 5th different, or you can hit the 4th of that, like, but it's still in the same key. Like, all the interesting things that you can do to make it your own. It's been a cool experimenting process too. But finding out like my range, air support, like some days I'll know when I'm extra tired or maybe I haven't gotten enough sleep. I'll know what songs in my set not to do, because if I don't have enough breath support and stamina, it really affects pitch for me. Mm-hmm. So I have to really warm up before a show. I'll have to drink a lot of water. Sometimes I'll even go for a run hours before the show. It's just kind of like a workout. Like I've got to keep it up, keep the voice training up. And then the stamina and the air power is a lot different. So there's a lot that goes into singing, I feel like. It's not like an instrument where you can just plug it in and it goes.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it up, for a long, long time. I'm thinking about Steven Tyler when he sang Dream On back in the 70s. His voice was so smooth, but then the years of smoking and hard living, it turned his voice into something different. Still interesting, but something different.
Or like Miley Cyrus, like her voice is like a whole octave down now because of all the drinking and smoking, and she had to have vocal surgery and stuff, and it's like you can't just mess around and like do whatever. And she actually was doing an interview where she just said, I learned that I couldn't just smoke at 3 a.m. and drink at 3 a.m. and treat my voice like crap, and like no kidding. But like I see that a lot on tour when I go on tour and I'm wanting to rest or hydrate and being like the square off in my room, but the people are drinking late at night, they're staying up instead of sleeping, and then the next show they don't have a voice. And I'm like, what do you think's going to happen?
That's the life of an entertainer, life of a rock star. You hear about that, and it's just it's a sad story. But you have people in your corner that are helping to take care of you. And you say you live alone, but you have those 2 big dogs. So she doesn't live alone; she's well protected. But
yeah, exactly.
But do people look after you if you feel like, or do you have a pretty good level head on your shoulder? I mean, because I figure with your mom and dad teaching you the way they did with the military, you probably have a level head, even though you did, go off before your time, maybe before they wanted you to go. But what did they think ultimately when you left all those years ago and decided to do your own thing on the East Coast? Did they come chase after you? Or did they? No. They actually drove me to the airport and supported me going because they knew it was what I really wanted. And it was hard for them because they knew I was only 17.
but they knew that like there's no way of stopping her. She's going to be 18 soon. Let's just support this instead of making it hard, you know? And my dad tells me all the time, every time he calls me, he's like, I'm so proud of you. I send him like when I was on the tour bus, one of the musicians was making fun of the way Bob Dylan sings. And my dad had always thought that that was funny. And my dad would do like these versions of Bob Dylan himself where he'd be making fun of the way he talks. So I sent him that tour video, and my mom just said, your dad just does not stop laughing at this video. So he gets a kick out of like seeing me on the road and seeing like the music side of it, because my dad was always super supportive of my career. I mean, he got me my first guitar. So, but also my other family is really my management and my record label, because like even in hard times, when maybe I don't have certain things that I need, they jump in and they help me out, whether it be financially or just being in my corner and supporting me. And my manager really is like, you know, he'll keep me on my toes. Like, I'll just be like, I don't know if I can do this. You know, I don't have 3 hours worth of material. I can't do this show. And he'll be like, you're doing this. You're going to do it. You have to do this. And then I'll get all motivated and I'll get it done. I'm like, God, thank you. He gave me that pep talk. Or like supporting my live streams and like being there at the shows. Like I really have good people in my corner. And I think that's really important when you're, you know, kind of doing this by yourself, is to just have that support system. So.
Yeah, you're not doing it by yourself. You can get to a certain level by yourself. You could be a SoundCloud DJ. You could be a YouTube, star. I guess that's how Justin Bieber started. That's how a lot of these kids started. They had that platform and put themselves out there and became famous. But you were talking about octaves earlier. On a smaller scale, I do karaoke on Friday nights at the Rab.
Nice.
I'm the karaoke jockey, and I hear people sometimes they're trying to sing songs that are too high for them, and the ability to bring it down one octave, or if it's too low, bring it up one, and it makes it more comfortable for the singer. I mean, that's the symbiosis, and then of course between karaoke songs, I'm playing a Emily Adams video up there on the screen, and people are going, "Hey, who is that? Oh, that's Emily Adams. Look her up on the YouTube. Look her up on Apple and Spotify."
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Give her tons of money. That's been my job since 1986. That's back in the 1900s. Playing music on the radio. People handing me their albums and going, could you listen to this and tell me if it fits the format of your show? I'll take a listen. Yeah, I like it, and I play it. But, the other thing that I was thinking about with the karaoke, and you said Bob Dylan, 2 of my songs are Lady Delay and Blowing in the Wind. And I talk about standing in front of you.
That's how my dad sounds. He makes fun of him. Even there was like this thing where he was talking about him trying to order like a burger and fries, and how my dad was like this is how Bob Dylan would order a burger and fries, and then he would like mimic his voice, and I'm like, Dad, stop making fun of it.
Yeah, Dad, stop.
I actually got to see Bob Dylan live in concert. I mean, he's a lot older now, so it was hard to make out the words, but it was really just about getting to see him live and having the experience of like experiencing a Bob Dylan concert live in person before his music career is over. So, and then I saw his son, Jacob Dylan of the Wallflowers. What a performer. That guy was so cool and so nice, so welcoming, so humble, just a beautiful person. I really love that show, but that's a good band too.
Yeah, even though he's got the Dylan name, he didn't make it on on his dad's dime. He made it on his own. Wallflowers are a fantastic group for sure. You're telling me about listening to people as they're aging. I interviewed the Outsiders yesterday. They have a song called "Time Won't Let Me." I can't wait forever. Time won't let me, from the 60s. And, they're still doing it after all these years.
Wow.
And I got to see Chuck Berry back in 2008. What? And yeah, he did the duck walk. He couldn't get quite that low with his guitar, but he did a little something, hey,
Aww.
Totally worth it. Totally worth the price of admission.
I love Chuck Berry.
Yes.
Such energy on the stage too. You're like, whoa.
I think about Michael J. Fox doing him in the Back to the Future 2 movie. Hey, it's your cousin, Marvin Berry. This is the sound you're looking for. And he's playing, Johnny Be Good. But no,
that's a good song.
I just love music, and I'm thinking about all the music through my head. This is things that you can do as a musician, as a singer-songwriter. You can change lives, change attitudes. You're making me smile, so you're making other people smile in turn.
Oh, good.
Through your words, your music, the background, where you came from, where you're at right now, and where you're heading. It looks like what you're heading is you're heading on tour. How far is that tour going to go?
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. We're trying to get a tour together, like for next year, all around the East Coast. Because right now I've got a lot of stuff happening in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and upstate New York. So we want to do like a little East Coast tour, see how it goes, and then kind of spread out. So, and I'm sure my manager is going to put that together like nothing. So I just got to be ready. I've been working on getting enough material together. I finally got this month, next weekend, April 22nd, I'm going to be playing my first 3-hour set. So I've never done 3 hours before. I had to get enough material together. But it's going to be all me. Like I'm the one that's performing there. So I get a merch table set up. I get my little tip jar there. I have like the whole show is just them coming to see me. So that's something that's really cool to me. Like I didn't, that happened really fast after with this management group.
No,
and then there's a couple more of those in June and July. So.
Yeah, it's one thing for me as a DJ to play other people's music, and to showcase that music for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. No problem. I can do it. I can rock the house. But for somebody strumming guitar, sacrificing your body, remembering lyrics, remembering the words.
Oh my God, that's the big one. Remembering the lyrics.
Yes. You wonder why people have these monitors in front of them, the iPads. Oh, you're cheating. No, you're not cheating. Can you remember a whole short story, in your head? Yes.
Right. And for 3 hours of material, it's a lot of lyrics. So my manager said that I have this little stand and it's got like little references to like, okay, your first verse start with this word. So it kind of, helps me remember what the next, goes on. And it's like small enough. You can kind of set it on the floor. It kind of stands up. So it's not like, a big iPad in my face where it just doesn't like look as good. But he said for the first couple of shows until I get, started, he's like, it's an exception. You can use the cheat sheets, but after a while you got to do it without. And I was just like, I don't know. I remember lyrics and I got them down usually, but for 3 hours, I don't know, man.
Hey, a secret
I'm gonna need something.
Yeah, a secret of the pros is those speakers in front of you, those monitor speakers. One of them can be gutted out and turned into a television. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's not. Hey, that's not even my idea. That's been done. I guess.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness! Now you're making me think of other things like Marlon Brando as he was aging. He had his cheat sheets all over the sets while he's doing his thing. He would have, like Johnny Depp would have his the script on his chest, and Marlon Brando is pretty much just reading his chest. While they're doing scenes together.
Okay, so everybody must go. Yeah, like everybody is kind of like on the same boat then, because I'm like, how do these people remember all this? Like, this is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, my mom always asks me, she's like, how do you remember all those lyrics? And I'm like, well, it's kind of the same thing as an actor. When you watch a movie, the actor's not holding the script and looking at it. They have to memorize their lines. So in some songs, it's kind of like I'm memorizing lines as if I was being an actress in a play or something. And then I'll take it away and try to recite the story. And then, okay, look at it. Okay, check it. And then you got to rehearse it and recite it in your head. And it's like, it can be a lot. Like I'm covering Bob Dylan's Hard Rain, Gonna Fall. So many words.
These are storytellers. I'm here and I'm thinking of Leonard Cohen. That song Hallelujah. It had 50 verses at more than 50 verses. They had to strip it down because the song just wrote itself. He just kept writing and writing.
Seemed like Bob Dylan's like a Rolling Stone. They said that thing was like 12, 13 pages long and they had to strip it down. And still when you listen to that song, you're like, wow, this is like so cool. But the actual thing of it is like Bob Dylan had like stacks of papers of this song. And I'm like, damn, I'm not the only one that struggles with this then.
I know that I've done some roadie work for some of some of the bands when I was in college, and they'd have their set list, a little cheat sheet, and at least it would say the names of the songs. Maybe it wouldn't have all the lyrics, and those set sheets, the set list was the band would sign it and they would auction it off, and that was cool thing way back when. I mean, I miss albums where they had album art and liner notes. When I'm on the radio, I got to have something to spit into the microphone. I can't just rattle stuff off of my head. But if I could pick up a 12-inch record, put the platter on the Technique, start spinning it and saying, oh, this song by Emily Adams, she was in California, in Palm Springs when she was a little girl, and she wrote this song about her step, whatever, about somebody very special. And these are, I miss liner notes. I miss even CDs were smaller. Do you have album art?
I miss cars, like cars having the CD. And cars don't play them anymore. So I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do with all my CDs?
Well, I think at the last time I went to broadcast school back in '86, and I was learning like reel to reel and tape like that. But then in 2003, I said, I need to update this. So I went to Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting, and I had we were just getting into Apple and Final Cut, and everything was all digital. I gave up my Techniques back in '99. That's the 1900s for you kids out there. I gave up my record players, and it went all digital. And then I had all this stack of CDs. What am I going to do with these?
Yeah.
I ended up just giving them away at parties and stuff. Here, have a CD. And the kids are like, Grandpa, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah, exactly. I like to collect them, but I do have like a CD player in my house. Sometimes I'll put a CD player on, and I like to collect vinyl records, and I have a record player, and it's nice to listen to it. But yeah, everything's so digital now. So
yeah, I just got asked recently, hey, I have a few tapes. You're a DJ. Do you have a tape player where you can digitize? And I said, I used to do that, but I don't have a cassette tape player or an 8-track or even, I don't think there's a turntable in this house. There's no turntables here. And I used to, I missed 2 turntables and a microphone. That was my strip
that was
down.
Cool.
But it's now with the digital age, everybody wants it bigger, better, bigger, better, faster. Now anybody wants a song. Hey, could you play that Emily Adams song? Oh yeah, let me buy it for you real quick on the Spotify and the Apple iTunes. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, let me play that Emily Adams song for you.
Right. Yeah, it's so much easier.
It's out there. It's so easy to get your music, and I want people to go out there and get your music. Is Spotify showing you love? Are you getting love from your Apple Music? Are you able to do what you love and maybe have a little bit of extra cheese on your hamburger because of the thing you love, music?
Yeah, I would say Spotify and Apple Music help to be able to share your music and like direct people to your content. But I'd say money maker wise, it's really the shows, like performing and getting out and playing as many shows as you can. And when I was telling my manager, like, hey, I want to make more money at doing what I love and I want to do music more, that's when he told me, like, you're going to need material. You got to perform 2 or 3 hours if you want to make good money, because if you're doing like an event or a show and they have to hire several musicians to fill the spot, they have to pay each one of them. So if you can do the 3 hours and fill the whole slot and they only have to get 1 musician, it's a lot easier for them. So then you're making all of that money yourself because you're filling that whole slot. So when he told me you have to have 3 hours of material, I thought it was impossible. I was like, there's no way. There's no effing way this year I'm going to put that together, that much material. And it took me maybe like 3-4 months, to get everything together. I'm still working on it a bit because I have a show next weekend, so I'm rehearsing everything. But it's a lot of work. I give it to the people that can go out there and play 3 or 4 hours and have all that material. It's not easy.
It's not easy at all. But the thing that people can do to support you, not only listen to your music and download your music, but to head over to emilyadamsmusic.co. Why .co?
Yeah.
.co.
Because someone has the .com.
Boo.
So we had to have a .co. Yeah. And then the .net was said it wasn't good to have a .net for certain reasons. And so we decided on the .co. But That may change. I think someone that was going to do my marketing for a little bit had some suggestions, so that might change. But for now, it's just emilyadamsmusic.co, and that has all my social tags on there too, so people can find my Instagram and Facebook, which I'm pretty active on, and all my show events are listed on my Facebook. So if you go to my Facebook fan page and click events, you can see all my upcoming shows, so that way people can kind of stay in the loop with what I'm playing.
Well, whoever's built this website has done an excellent job. It's pretty easy to navigate. There's shows, videos, contact, and the one thing that I was going to tell people is merch. Buy the merch. You make more money from merch.
And that's also game changer at shows too, to sell merch and bring like a little tip jar, and you can leave with an extra couple $100 just from your merch and people putting tips in your little tip jar. Especially if you're there for 3 hours, you make pretty good tip.
Man, I got a closet full of local musicians. Support your local artists for sure. And you've given me another reason to go to Pennsylvania. I think there's the Three Stooges Museum. The only one in the world is right there in
oh, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that I just heard that on a podcast or NPR.
Oh, what?
Or
I'll have to check that out.
I'm going to have to check that out. I'm heading from Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania to go see a show, Emily Adams show, and go to the museum to check out the boys. Check out the boys. All right, let's wind this thing down. I mean, my goodness, I think the people have gotten a little idea of who Emily Adams is, the person behind the music. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk, though. As time progresses, as shows become more and more, as that tour comes on, I want you to pop in, maybe give a 20-minute, 30-minute, whatever, and tell people where you're going to be in the next few. But if you have any shows that are coming up, like in the next few months, give the people an idea of where they're going to be.
Oh, sure. So actually, I have a really cool show with my band. My drummer's flying in from LA for this one because he was originally in Jersey and then he moved to LA, and I didn't want to switch my drummer, so he's flying in from LA to do this show with me. It's going to be May 13th at Jamie's House of Music in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. The show starts at 8 p.m. and that's a really good one to be at because I'm headlining that one. So I'm super excited.
Well, that's respect to have your drummer come all the way from the West Coast. That is a family. That is somebody who you're tight with, that he provides a good backbeat, and that's an important.
Oh, he really does. And like the comfort of having a drummer behind you that knows your material and knows what he's doing. You don't have to worry about anything. You're just focused on being in the flow and going. Because I've played with some drummers that if they're even off a little bit or they get stagnant on the timing, it really throws me off. So for a show like this where I'm headlining and it's a really big deal, like my management's coming out, a lot of other bands are coming out, and I'm like, no, I want to sound solid. So if this guy flies in from LA, I know he's got my back.
Well, mention all the names of all those terrible drummers. Go ahead right now. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Let's kidding. The good one, Nick Potters. If you guys look up social media, Nick Potters, fabulous drummer. And if you're in LA, you might want to check him out because he's there now.
All right, Nick Potters. Hey, while you're doing that, give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll bring this thing to a cose. Give the shout outs.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you very much to my management and manager, Brian Fagan. Ryan Grasso, which was my first drummer, and now he's also doing video stuff for me, video content, because now he got into photography. So he's been really supportive and helpful, and we've been working together for like 5 years now. Definitely my record label, Big Records, Pamela, Lisa, Mark Rosner, they've all been great and supportive. And of course, I thank my family for always being there and putting up with my crazy. So, and thank you for having me on the show too. Shout out to you.
Woo. And hey, I want to give thanks to Cindy Nini. I finally figured out how to pronounce her name. She's the one that put us together.
Thank you, Cindy Nini. Okay, thank you, because I didn't know how to say that either.
Man, the first 3 or 4 podcasts I was saying Nene, and she said it's Nini, and I went, oh, okay, no problem, we got you. All right, I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be like words to live by, things that you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Emily Adams, give the last words for the people.
Well, I really just say, like, and this is what I've been told too, is that the only thing that you can really do as an artist is just keep going. You can't stop releasing content. You can't stop performing. You can't stop keeping up with your social media. Like, even when things are hard, or you think it may not matter, or you may not go anywhere, if you just don't stop, things start to happen. So you just got to keep pushing, and you got to keep doing it, and just don't stop. And at some point it has to pay off if you're really just in it to win it.
Well, there you have it, party people. Emily Adams. What a nice girl. Oh, and happy birthday, Emily Adams. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday. I know once you get to a certain age, birthdays, what am I, 9? What am I, 6? What do you want, fire trucks and bulldozers and all that kind of stuff? Nah, just a little dinner, just remember me, give me a phone call and say, happy birthday. All right. So, Emily Adams, happy birthday. I hope you have the best birthday ever. And, thank you so much for being on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Everyone has an origin story, and your origin story is fantastic. It's filled with, squibbly lines. People think when they're younger, they're going to do a straight line. I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, a ballerina, a princess, straight line. Nope. On the way to those goals, maybe you got little goals. Maybe you got roadblocks. Maybe you make your own roadblocks. Maybe you make your own mini goals. You start a company. Why not? Do it. You like dogs? Teach those dogs. When you say, I didn't bring it up, but when you said, I teach dogs, my mother probably would have said, what are you, a dog walker? What's a dog walker? What is that? Is that any kind of a living? And I don't know why I gave her a Jersey accent, or even if that wasn't. I gave her some kind of an accent, but she doesn't have that accent. But my mom, she's a heck of a lady, and I'm so happy that I got brought up by her. But you got a family that sticks with you, that's behind you, mom, dad, sisters, brothers. It's good to have a team in your corner. You got the record company. You got support from your label, from your, my goodness. You've got a good team, and I can see nothing but great things for you, Emily Adams. Thank you so much for telling a bit of your story. I know we just scratched the surface, and I look forward to hearing more from you. All right. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.